What's up, deckheads? New year, new month, new humble choice. I'm going to review all the games in this month's bundle and tell you whether the bundle is worth your cash or just plain trash.
Just hold still, damn you!
In all the gameplay footage, you'll see me going hands-on and giving my deck a real workout. That's right, I review all these games on Valve's Steam Deck, a bold bastion of boundless brilliance, bringing breathtaking battles, brilliant breakthroughs, and boundless bliss to believers and beginners alike, all in handheld mode, and tell you how well each of the games plays and performs. And of course, somewhere in this video, I'll announce the winner of last month's Patch Quest Steam Key giveaway. And speaking of keys, this month I've got a lot of keys available for many different great games. Want a key for one of the games on the screen? Let me know which game you want in the comments. I'll pick one lucky winner in next month's Humble Choice Bundle review. Okay, without further ado, let's get started.
How do people solve these?
Against the Storm is one of those games that doesn't hold your hand. It grabs your hand, drags you into the rain, and dares you to survive. It's a city building roguelike where you're constantly juggling priorities, balancing resources, and trying not to lose your mind or your settlements. The gameplay loop is super addictive, with enough variety and challenge to keep you coming back for just one more round. Trust me, your deck will be getting a workout with this one. The tutorial does a solid job of explaining the basics, but once you're on your own, be prepared to lose. A lot. The difficulty is no joke, but it's part of what makes the game so rewarding when things finally click. Each run feels fresh thanks to the procedurally generated maps and changing conditions. It's a game that knows how to keep you on your toes and your deck in your hands for hours. Performance on the Steam Deck is smooth for the most part, staying close to 60 frames per second. The default control layout, which combines the controller with the trackpad, is surprisingly intuitive. It's a perfect fit for managing all the intricate details of your colonies without feeling clunky. Battery life is rock solid, clocking in at around 2.5 hours. Plenty of time for you to suffer the ire of your queen over and over again. If there's one gripe, it's the text size. Playing at night after a long day of work, squinting at tiny text on the deck screen was not exactly my idea of a relaxing time. It's manageable, but it might leave you feeling like you need glasses or a bigger screen. Of course, you can use the deck's magnifier tool, but you don't want to use it as a clutch. With an average of 83.5 hours to beat for the average user, Against the Storm has tons of replayability. It's challenging, unique, and hard to put down once you start. Whether you're into city builders or just want something to really sink your teeth into, this game's got you covered. This one's a handful in the best way possible. If you've got a soft spot for tactical games and want to scratch that itch on your deck, Jagged Alliance 3 is a solid pick. It's a brilliant blend of old school turn-based strategy with some modern touches to keep things fresh. You'll feel like a tactical genius, or an absolute fool when things go sideways, as you switch between real-time planning and turn-based combat to execute your master plans.
I think I can do this one from behind.
Managing your mercenaries isn't just about barking orders. You're also haggling over salaries, managing team compositions like you're running an HR department in a company where every day is bring your gun to work day, training militias to guard your hard-won towns, and plotting your next brilliant move on the overworld map. Looted intel gives you the edge to outsmart your enemies, and trust me, you'll need it, because this game punishes sloppy tactics, like your big brother back when he was in high school and organised a slumber party with his girlfriend. Quick, awkward, and leaving you to clean up the mess. Combat has all the tactical staples: cover systems, overwatch, and action points, but it's the little things that make it pop. Spending extra action points for better hit chances? Mwah! Tactical perfection. And the standing, crouching, and prone mechanics aren't just for show. They influence movement, aim, and how much of a bullet sponge you become. Every skirmish feels like a puzzle to solve, and with the mods available, you can replay with a fresh experience every time. On the deck, the controls are a bit like juggling grenades at first. Tricky, but satisfying once you get the hang of it. Thankfully, the game keeps on-screen hints handy, so you're not flying blind. Performance-wise, it's locked at 30 frames per second for a smooth ride, and you'll get about 1.5 hours of battery life on the default settings, which is a respectable deck length. With an average playtime of 61.5 hours according to How Long to Beat, and even more replayability with the many numerous mods available, this game has a lot of content for you to enjoy. If you're into tactical games and don't mind a bit of a learning curve, Jagged Alliance 3 is a brilliant addition to your deck library. It's not just a game, it's a full-time mental workout, one that'll keep you strategizing long after your deck needs a recharge. So suit up, grab your deck, and get ready to flex those tactical muscles like the commander you were born to be.
Strong and beautiful as Vasilisa herself.
If you're all about exploring every inch of what your deck can do, pushing it to the limits, experimenting with new setups, or just admiring how versatile it is, then you're a deckhead. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content, and join the rest of us deckheads. Remember, it's not the size of your deck that matters, it's how you use it. If you're a fan of the original Blasphemous, or love a good 2D action platformer, then Blasphemous 2 might just become your next obsession. It builds on everything that made the first game iconic: haunting visuals, tight combat, and a dark, lore-heavy world, and keeps you coming back for more punishment, or penance, depending on how you look at it. On the Steam Deck, this game runs like a dream. Smooth, steady, and locked at 60 frames per second, delivering rock-hard performance where it matters most. With a battery life of about 3 hours on the default settings, you've got plenty of time to explore this cursed world before your deck needs a breather, and the controls as precise and satisfying as landing a perfect parry in combat, making the brutal platforming feel like second nature throughout the game's 20.5-hour run. The gameplay itself has eased up on the punishment compared to the original. I'm an hour in, and I'm still yet to meet my maker. A far cry from the first game, where every corner was a booby trap and every enemy seemed to have a personal vendetta. Hardcore fans of the original's brutal difficulty might shed a single tear for the lost pain, but newcomers will find this a much smoother climb into the madness. It's challenging, just not rip your hair out challenging. All in all, Blasphemous 2 doesn't reinvent the wheel. It just smooths out some of the rougher edges, making the ride a bit easier without losing the gritty charm that fans love. Whether you're here for the haunting art style, the atmospheric storytelling, or the addicting gameplay loop, this sequel is a perfect fit for your deck. Grab your deck, light a candle, and prepare to repent, because this game is sinfully good. If you're into roguelike deck builders on the Steam Deck, Beneath Oresa has some serious deck-on-deck action. The game is clearly inspired by the game's heavyweights like Slay the Spire, but manages to carve out its own space with some unique mechanics and a slick 3D presentation. Beneath Oresa serves up all the classic deck-building roguelike goodness. Add, upgrade, and remove cards, scoop up relics with fancy perks, and gamble your life away in high-stakes risk-reward decisions. But it also brings a clever twist with its near-far mechanic, where positioning actually matters in combat. It's like checkers if checkers had deck building and punching, but perhaps the same number of grandmas playing it at the park. Good on you, Nan. Here's where things get spicy. You don't have to go it alone. Pick a companion to join you on your runs. These trusty sidekicks aren't just there to keep you company, they bring passive perks and level up their companionship with you. Basically, it's like going on a Tinder date where your +1 gives you passive bonuses and doesn't judge your life choices. And with loads of characters across 3 unique classes, there's plenty of variety in the decks you build and the playstyle. The controls are as smooth and straightforward as you'd hope. Joystick for selections, A button for confirmations, Y to end your turn. It's pick up and play at its finest. Performance mostly holds between 30 and 60 frames per second, with the occasional dip to 20 when the animations get too ambitious. Battery life clocks in at around 1 hour and 45 minutes on the default settings, so if you're in for a long haul, you might want to keep your charger close, like a clingy companion. With an average playtime of 8 hours according to How Long to Beat, Beneath Oresa doesn't outstay its welcome, but it's got enough variety to keep you coming back for just one more run. Whether you're a seasoned card slinger, or just shuffling into the genre, the game brings slick visuals, strategic depth, and a touch of companionship to your deck. If you've got the stamina to keep playing with your deck, why not use those nimble fingers of yours to tap the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. If you've ever wanted to wander through a spooky Mars base while your Steam Deck struggles to keep up, Fort Solaris might just be your jam. It's like Dead Space, but without the dead. Instead, you get some space, a sprinkling of survival vibes, and enough graphical downgrades to make your deck feel like it's on life support. The story? Pretty standard sci-fi fare. You play as a weathered, cynical spaceman with a penchant for booze and sarcasm, answering a mysterious distress call from an abandoned base elsewhere on Mars. You'll spend most of your time wandering around, solving basic puzzles, and occasionally engaging in quick-time events. It's a rinse and repeat loop of find obstacle, find solution, apply solution, with the occasional distraction of goofing off with interactive objects.
Look at that little guy go.
The game handles well with the deck's controls. It's clear it was designed with controllers in mind, but performance, oof. The frame rate is all over the place, going anywhere from 10 to 60 frames per second, depending on what's on screen. And don't think dropping the graphics settings will help. By default, the game uses ultra performance settings on the deck, and even turning options like motion blur off does nothing to fix this, and barely squeezes out an hour of battery life. And while the default in-game upscaling settings make the performance tolerable, it also makes your deck's screen look like it's been smeared with Vaseline. So good luck reading any text throughout the game's 4.5 hours of gameplay. While the game might be tolerable on a console or high-end PC, the Steam Deck isn't the ideal platform for Solaris. You could give it a go if you're patient, or a masochist, but honestly, this might be one of those games where your deck is better off taking a hard pass.
That's odd.
It's time to announce the winner of last month's Patch Quest Steam Key giveaway. Congratulations to Ondad Strativa. Patch Quest is a true undiscovered gem, and you are going to love every minute of it. Make sure to send a message to the Reddit user Decus to claim your key. If you're looking for a game that'll make you feel like a genius one moment and a complete buffoon the next, Box's Lost Fragments has your number. It's a chill little puzzler that's equal parts relaxing and brain-bending. Perfect for a lazy afternoon with your deck in hand. Right off the bat, it's clear this game was built for a mouse. But don't fret, thanks to the Steam Deck's trackpad, you can slide, click, and puzzle solve with ease. It's not exactly like using a mouse, but it gets the job done without making you want to yeet your deck across the room. The star of the show? The mask you pick up in the tutorial. Pop it on for a limited time hint that highlights what you should be messing with next. And if you're stuck on one of those more minor puzzles with a convoluted solution, there's a solution button. It's like the game knows that sometimes your brain just isn't in the mood to cooperate. Visually, Box's Lost Fragments is a treat. Watching mechanical reactions and objects light up as you unfold, nudge, and shift objects around is satisfying, like ASMR for your eyeballs. The game's low-stakes vibe keeps things laid back, but don't let that fool you, your brain will still get a solid workout. With a playtime of about 4 hours, Boxes doesn't overstay its welcome, and the deck handles it beautifully, locked at 60 frames per second, with a decent 2.5 hour battery life. If you're a fan of puzzles, or just enjoy looking smug for figuring things out, this game's worth popping on your deck. Just don't forget to wear the mask when things get tricky. It's like a cheat sheet, but classy. Dordogne is one of those games that sneaks up on you. At first, it's easy to underestimate. A slow-paced narrative experience with simple puzzles. But by the end, it's carved out a special little spot in your heart. With a runtime of around 4 hours and a battery life of 3 hours on the default settings, it's perfect for a laid-back evening with your deck. The story follows Mimi as she slowly remembers repressed childhood memories. It's a deeply emotional journey, tackling some heavy themes while presenting them in a way that feels heartfelt and meaningful. The game's standout mechanic revolves around a binder you fill with photos, stickers, and poems made from words you collect. It's a creative way to express Mimi's feelings and adds a personal touch to the narrative. The art style is stunning, made even more so with its locked 60 frames per second performance, with distinct visual differences between the present and the past that reflect Mimi's perspective at the different stages of her life. Combined with the tranquil soundtrack and excellent voice acting, Dordogne creates a cozy atmosphere that makes it a joy to play. It's not a game that rushes you. The pace is deliberate, the puzzles are simple, and the overall experience feels more like a meditative journey than a challenging adventure. But that's its charm. It's a game to relax with, one that slowly grows on you the more time you spend with it. Dordogne is earning 2 awards in this review. The Deck Play Under the Covers Award for being the perfect bedtime companion, and the Grower Not a Shower Award, because it proves that first impressions aren't everything. The Pegasus Expedition blasts you into a galaxy full of interstellar strategy, blending turn-based scheming with real-time laser blasting fleet battles. It's a decent space romp for armchair admirals who want to conquer the stars but don't necessarily need to be the next galactic Napoleon. It doesn't quite reach the orbit of genre heavyweights, but hey, not every game needs to be a space opera masterpiece. Sometimes a space sitcom does the trick. You'll spend your time commanding fleets, building colonies, and juggling resources like a stressed out cosmic landlord. There's a diplomacy system too, but let's be real, it's about as deep as a kiddie pool. Still, it's a nice touch when you're trying to convince your neighboring star systems that you're totally not planning to conquer them. For the lazy strategists, guilty, the auto-build function is pure bliss, letting you focus on the big picture stuff, like whether to conquer a system or just leave them a strongly worded message. Combat keeps things straightforward, yet surprisingly satisfying. You'll set attack formations in what feels like space rock paper scissors, except with more explosions and big lasers. And then there's the different morality strategies too. Do you fight honorably like a noble space knight, or go full villain and sacrifice your PR for extra carnage? Decisions. On the Steam Deck, the trackpad handles mouse controls well, and the A button doubles as your pause resume spacebar. Customizing some extra controls, like shift and control, is a must, unless of course you enjoy clunky unit management. But let's talk text size. It's microscopic. Seriously, you'll feel like you're squinting at an alien contract written in fine print. That's where the deck's magnifying tool comes to the rescue. Just be prepared to use it a lot. Performance-wise, it's solid. The frame rate hovers between 45 and 60 frames per second. Battery life, on the other hand, clocks in at 1 hour and 20 minutes, which is frankly a little short for this type of game and leaves much to be desired. In terms of how much content the game has, your guess is as good as mine. How Long to Beat doesn't have enough data on this game, but judging by its scope, it's safe to say there's enough gameplay here to keep you orbiting for quite a while. While the Pegasus Expedition doesn't shoot for the stars, it still delivers a fun and accessible galactic strategy experience. If you're looking for a game to scratch that space strategy itch on your deck without frying your brain circuits, this one's worth a spin. Just don't forget your charger. And maybe a pair of reading glasses. That's a wrap on this month's Humble Choice Bundle review, but is it worth your cash or just plain trash? Absolutely. This bundle is a strong start to 2025 with 4 solid hits, Dordogne as a delightful surprise, and the Pegasus Expedition sparking just enough intrigue to keep me wanting to play more. If you haven't done so already, make sure to give the video a thumbs up to help others find it, and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future Deckhead content. See you next time, Deckheads.